I guess what were the 3-point practice like? Like, were you expecting something?
Hoping. I think this team is capable of making threes. I will tell you, over the last week, we've ended every practice with partnering up, and they make 53s and free throws. Obviously, it stood out on the threes and not as much on the free throws, but just really focusing on them, seeing the ball go through the basket. You know, we're at a time in the year where our practices are not long. You know, we're very intentional about what we're trying to get out of them, whether from an opponent scout perspective. But I think this team needed to see the ball go through the basket consistently. I anticipated Cincinnati would play some zone, maybe not as much as they did in the second half. But, you know, I thought we didn't shoot it well enough at UCF. And so they would probably go to it if we were doing a good job against their man. So just good to see the ball go through the basket. Obviously, in particular, Bella, that was the big one to me is, you know, she needed a game like this. You know, Aliyah has always been streaky, and this isn't new for her. But it was also good to see the ball go through the basket for her like the way it did, especially when all of them were in the second half. But really happy for Bella. I thought she took good shots. I thought we did a good job finding her in open space.
You certainly, Bella has not had the season shooting that she is kind of expected to, or she was expecting for herself. How good was this for her, and did she ever get down on herself, you know, throughout this year?
Of course. Yeah, I don't think you're human if you get shots and you're not making them. And I think Bella was so good at being our glue defensively, and but I still think it's very hard in this day and get with social media and graphics and all the things that we post, you know, to not get the reward on offense, because I think that's what people look at when they think about all conference and when they think about all these different things. And so no matter how valuable she is to us, even when she's not making shots, no matter how much she plays, no matter how much I pat her on the back for the things that she does, you know, you want to see the ball go through the basket, especially when you get open opportunities. And so I do think she got down, and I do think she needed this. I think she spent extra time in the gym. You know, it's never been, I don't know that Bella, you know, sometimes her shot prep isn't good enough. And so that's the difference sometimes in a 40% and a 32, 33, but she's not a 20% 3-point shooter. Like, she never has been in her career. So, you know, but it's amazing how, like, one game can turn into two, which can turn into three, and that's the crazy part about basketball and sport. It's so mental. I look at the season Staley Hurd's having at Oklahoma State, and she was hovering around 20% through like 7 or 8 games for them, and had like an 8 for 8 or a 10 for 10 or some absurd game from 3, and then all of a sudden she's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league because she saw it go through the basket in one game. So I don't expect Bella to be an 80% 3-point shooter every game, but I certainly think the ability to go 2 for 5, 3 for 7, you know, even 1 for 3, you know, goes a long way to creating space for us.
You guys assisted on 31 of 37 made buckets. How important was just that facilitating aspect from Sarah and Jada?
Yeah, I think there's one, when you get stops, you get in transition. When you get in transition, you tend to have numbers, you have more space to operate. And so there were a lot of simple decisions to be made out there today in terms of driving, kicking. You know, we were able to get to the rim, but the right play was rotationally to kick it and make the next pass, which happened a lot against the zone. It was inside out. It was drive, kick, one more, you know, and I think in particular against the zone, but we were doing a good job slipping in their man with their switches. We were doing a good job of hitting and rolling. So, it was kind of the whole idea of the high-low game, hard to guard when you have someone like Nettie. So, I thought whether they were in man or zone, we did a pretty good job of knowing what we were looking for. You take away, I thought we didn't finish our curl on the first possession of the game. We threw the ball to me on the first possession of the third. Other than that, I thought we did a pretty good job getting to what we were trying to get to.
You were disappointed with some of the defense against UCF. How was the bounce back today? Obviously, they have 30 free throws, but you have a couple 5-minute stretches where they don't have a field goal.
Yeah, I thought we started the game really down in a stance and ready to rotate. And, I thought we did a lot of things really well defensively. I think when you get into the stretch of we're up 30, you get real comfortable with wanting to be in like, okay, they can score because we'll come down and score too. And it was trying really hard to keep them out of that mode, because the more you sub, the more, they're just, everyone's looking for the ball. They're seeing the ball go through the basket, and I want to get a bucket too. And there's a lot of that going on. But yeah, I mean, we couldn't have emphasized fouling more than we did over the last 3 days. So to put them on the line 30 times, there's the frustrated coach and Coach Green and I is like, that can't happen. Like this team went 0 for 12. This isn't an elite 3-point shooting team. They're a team that wants to get downhill, and you got to make them make tough twos. And when they make pull-up threes over, when Chloe Mann, when Jackson, when they make pull-up twos, you go, okay, that's what we're willing to give up. When you foul a jump shooter on a pull-up two, that is absolutely not what we want to do. They're 0 for 12 and we foul a 3-point shooter. Like, we have to know the difference between making a hustle play and what we call fake hustle. Like, if you foul a shooter, that's fake hustle. Like, get to where you're supposed to go, contest it, rebound it, and let's go the other way. So obviously we fouled way too much. I mean, that's what this team does to you. I mean, they consistently play downhill. They force you. They force their body on your body, and they're always going to get to the line 15 times, because they're going to put you in that situation where they make the official call, the block charge call. But what we shouldn't be doing is swatting and fouling jump shooters.
Nettie had 16 points in under 15 minutes of play, and had a really hot start to the game. When she's in there being dominant down low, how much does that open up, spacing for maybe making three-pointers?
Yeah, it's why I don't want her to foul the way she fouls, so that I can stay with that more. I just think there's a dynamic with her on the floor that we don't have when she's not in the game. And it doesn't mean we can't be really effective with Kayla at the 5. We just don't get the same ability to throw it to the block and get 2 points. I mean, it's just a very, very different flow to how we play. Like when she knows she's got an advantage, she does a good job of taking advantage of it, and I thought she was patient. I thought her teammates did a good job finding her early. I thought Bugs was doing a good job playing to the high-low. Our second play of the game was designed to get her a layup. We got her a layup. And so I thought from an execution perspective, we did a good job getting her the ball. She did a good job finishing. The crazy part is she missed 2 shots, and those were point-blank layups too, And so you almost want her to be perfect, and that's probably not fair. But we just need her to not swat down. 2 of her 3 fouls were fouls that were very avoidable. Her over the back, I'm not as frustrated with that. But when it's your second foul and it sits you, that's when it's frustrating. We've gotten pretty good at figuring out how to play without her, because we've had to do it so much. But I just don't want to have to. So there's no doubt that I don't think in this game they showed a lot of help. They just played her straight up. But I think there are other teams that are going to bring help. And so when you start making threes, then that makes it real easy. If they're going to double of her or they're going to pinch in, all of a sudden the 3 ball becomes that much more open.
You mentioned what one game can do for a player. What can a game like this do for all of you kind of for the remainder of the season? Yeah,
it's really interesting. Bella was in my office Friday. I said, I'm still waiting for this team to have the game. Every team has the game. Like, I can point to it our first year with the Dream, where everything came together, and you're like, they see what they're capable of. They see what it can look like. And I don't think this team had that game. And I think this was a little bit of a glimpse of that. I thought we did it a little bit last year in 3 quarters against Houston. When they played here and we were free flowing and making shots and sharing the basketball. But I think that's the kind of night where, when Bella gets hot, it's good to see your teammates feed her, because another night that's Bugs, or it's Sarah. And for us to make 17 threes and for Sarah to be the only one to not really shoot it well is really crazy for us, So imagine if she makes 2 of those, we're setting even more records. So, I think it can do a lot for a team's confidence. I don't think there's any doubt it does Bella's confidence good, Aliyah's confidence. I thought Yaya played a great all-around game off the bench today. I thought she got out ahead of the ball. I thought she made pretty good decisions. She didn't force anything. So, I think it can do a lot for a team. Thank you.
Bella, I mean, were you expecting a game like that? Like, where did that come from for you?
I mean, it's always in me. It's always in all of us whenever we have games where we make shots and just do our job consistently. Obviously, I haven't shot it as well as I wanted to the past few games, or really even this season, but we just continue to rep it. We rep it after practice. We get shots up. I get shots up on my own. So I knew some were due to fall. Didn't know if it was going to be today, but once I saw the first one going, I was like, okay, you know what? They feel good, so I'll keep taking them. And my teammates found me whenever I was open.
You mentioned that you haven't had the shooting season like you want. Did you get frustrated, and what did you do to, stay focused?
Yeah, there's frustration, but my identity doesn't lie in just my three-point capabilities. I contribute a lot defensively to this team, my voice, and just energy and effort. I feel like whenever I continue to do those things and bring that consistently every day, whether I make a shot or I miss a shot, it doesn't matter. So,
Aliyah, Baylor High knocked down your first 5 3-pointers in the second half. What did that mean to you, and how cool is that?
It's really cool. I was honestly thinking before the game that I felt like whenever we play at home, I kind of get shy. But it felt really good to shoot the ball well. That's something I've been working on for a while now. And like Bella said, my teammates found me, so it felt really good.
What does a game where you have 31 assists on 37 buckets, what does that do for a team, and how can you build on that?
I think it encourages us to, keep playing through droughts in the game. We are really big on sharing the ball with one another, and that's something we take pride in as a team. So I feel like that's really good for us, and I feel like we can grow from there.
Aliyah, just how kind of, contagious when you see Bella kind of shooting the way she is, Yaya knocking them down, just kind of, is that energy or that shooting ability, does it feel contagious to you, I guess?
Absolutely. Seeing Bella, I don't know, wow. Every possession, I'm just standing up because I'm like, okay, it's going in, and every time it did. But it's very contagious. You have teammates that are versatile, they can score the ball at any time, any given day. It's super comforting, so I'm super excited to play with you all. Good job, Bella.
Bella, can you talk a little bit about Sarah? She had 12 assists today, and Foster mentioned the high assist numbers. I guess what does she mean to this team overall? And when she's not scoring, how important is it for her to, distribute like she was today?
Nicki has always given her flowers, and I feel like us as her teammates should as well. That girl sees the court like nobody I've ever played with before. From the point, from the two, no matter where you are, if you're getting to your spots where you need to be, and Sarah has the ball bringing it up with you, you're gonna get a look. Very seldom does she miss people, and when she does, she's telling you, "Hey, I got you on the next one." But she works hard to make those right reads and make the plays and make it happen for other people too. So very thankful that I have a passer and somebody who sees the court as well as her, and then her scoring ability on top of that.
Bella, do you feel like a game like this, I guess, for you and as a team as a whole, can maybe turn into, another game like this and this? How do you build on it and carry this momentum forward?
We absolutely build on this game. This momentum is going to be huge for us from an offensive perspective, from shooting the ball to our drives to getting touches to Nettie and our posts, offensive rebounding and putting the ball back in the basket. I think that there were so many things we did well. I will say that something that does not need to be contagious from this game is the missed box outs and the fouling. That's something that we have put an emphasis on, is getting back to our rotations in our defense and playing really solid and strong. We got to a few of those and drew a few charges, but just have to do a better job of that, and then cleaning up free throw blockouts as well. But, there's the good and the bad. You got to take what you get, and then learn from it and carry it with you to the next one. Thanks, Sikkim.